Are you ready to listen to a podcast?
Here comes the Playhouse Podcast, thanks to Bradshaw and Bryan Law Offices.
Find, subscribe, and listen.
Everyone, I think, has gone to Vegas or has heard crazy stories about Las Vegas, and maybe you have your own. This is where you want to start dialing, because it's not just Who Got Married in Vegas by Elvis. It just prompted the conversation because they're having the Elvis estate contact all these people that impersonate Elvis that are marrying people and say, no, we don't want you to do that anymore.
So you teased us on this. Let me know what dude had his hands all over you.
Okay.
And then you ended up, and your husband knew about it. This is like Indecent Proposal. And you ended up in the shower with a bottle of wine. Tell me the story, please.
I felt very, very, very terrible after this situation.
Like dirty?
So my husband and I book us a little getaway. Liam is 2. I'm like, we need a getaway. So I bring my sober of then, 12 years?
Yeah,
now it's
12,
17 years. 12 years. And he doesn't gamble and he hates the heat. So I bring him to Las Vegas in August, okay?
So hold on.
Just
he
a
doesn't
dumb
drink.
move.
He hates the heat. He doesn't gamble. Where's a great spot, honey? Let's go to Vegas.
And it was such terrible heat that you couldn't even be in the pool because it was so hot and the pool water was getting hot. And you're like, what do we do? So we just stay inside in the air conditioning. And I said, this place, we stayed at the Luxor, and I said, they have an amazing spa. So we go downstairs and I want to get a massage. And I'm hot off having my second butthole surgery. Okay, so I rerouted. Now I don't have a bag or anything anymore. But still, your body's working on making sure nothing just comes out when it wants to. So I'm on the massage table, and this guy is giving me the massage, and then I start feeling like, I feel like I have to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, I can hold it. I think I have a half hour left. So I'm clenching, okay? And he goes, stop that. Hits my butt. Stop that. Loosen up. And I'm like, oh my God. And so I'm laying there and I'm like, can't even relax. My body just naturally is clenching, okay?
You have 2 choices at this point. One is to poop all over him. The other one is to keep your butt cheeks clenched.
Teach him a lesson or save face. Exactly. And then my body is clenching on its own. I'm not even doing it. It's just taking over. And then does it again. And I'm like, oh my God, this is beyond horrible. I feel like I'm going to cry. Then he does it 4 more times. He's like, I'm not going to tell you again. You need to relax. I'm not going to tell you again. And I remember leaving and I just walk super fast with my robe on and I go get dressed and I look at Derek. I'm like, we got to get out of here. He goes, should we tip? I go, no, we are not tipping. This guy hit me 7 times. And we get up to the room and I handle everything and it was bad. That's my terrible Vegas story because it was just, I don't know. And then just the heat. We're not hot people. I'm built like Kelly Clarkson. I got thick skin and it's just not my thing. But
is that protocol for an ass slap if you need them to relax? If you're a massage therapist, number one, please call and let me know if this is protocol.
I feel like you should do a sweet whisper. I have
relax, please?
The Indian flute music going and then you slap my butt. No, that's going to do the opposite of what you're doing. But that's something that I've always held on to. And Derek's like, do you need to be alone for a little bit? I go, I just need to go get us some sushi and just bring it to the room. I just got to take a shower.
So he went to get food and you took a bottle of wine into the shower with you like a 19-year-old college kid?
Yes. I'm like, it was a weird spot. I've never been put in that spot before and haven't since. But
your Vegas stories, let's get them right now. Now, Terry, you lived in Vegas, right?
I lived in Vegas for quite a while, almost 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
And my lawyer's office, who I was good friends with, right behind the little white chapel.
Oh.
And we walked out one day. It was actually Darth Vader doing the wedding.
Okay.
All the best men dressed up as stormtroopers.
Sure.
That's fun.
The bride was dressed up as Princess Leia.
Of course.
And it was Han Solo getting married.
Oh, my God.
They actually had a little R2-D2
little guy, yeah.
remote control there. It was really cool.
See, now this is great. See, I think these chapels can get more creative instead of having Elvis there, if they can't anymore. And they can do stuff like this. Darth Vader is marrying Han Solo and Princess Leia.
That's kind of cool. I wonder if they have a full menu. You look through the binder and you're like, this is the theme I want. Make it happen.
But here's the problem. You got to have people on staff prepared to play those characters right then.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's an easy one.
Unless you order
just put a helmet on.
Y'all still want me to come with you?
started thinking, oh, it's Vegas. It's Elvis. It's the little chapel that could, or the white chapel that couldn't, or whatever it's called. There's 100 places in Vegas that you used to be able to get married by Vegas, but now, or by Elvis. And now Elvis's estate has sued all these places saying, no. That's our likeness. That's our character.
Maybe
you can't use them anymore.
Getting married in Vegas is your Vegas story, or maybe you lost a ton of money and you were afraid to go home. Maybe that's your Vegas story. We're looking for Vegas stories.
At one point, the last time I was in Vegas, I was up close to $4,000.
Wow.
I twiddled $3,000 of that away.
How sick do you feel when you do that? I can't gamble more than $20. I look at that as 4 Caribou coffees.
I was that way.
Ugh.
I went on such a heater on craps the very first night we were there. And then I was paranoid about leaving the $4,000 in my safe. You know what I mean? Because I was thinking, I'm just going to $50. If I lose $50, then I'm done. I'll do the nickel slots like everybody else and have a few drinks and eat some food and have some fun. But I was up so much. And then I was thinking to myself, and this was like 8 hours before our plane left, man, if I could turn this 4 into 10, the wife's going to be pretty happy. And what I did is I took 3 with me. And it didn't take 2 hours to piss all that away.
Oh, my God. That's awful.
But it was all their money. So I didn't feel horrible because I was, giving it back to them. They had already given me a bunch. Yeah. She was still really happy because she didn't know I was up 4. She thought I just came home with 1 extra.
And now you're saying it on the radio. Well, brilliant.
She doesn't listen to this dopey show. Katie, I'm glad that you could wait for a second because I know you got. Actually, you saw the Stones in Vegas.
I went. It was supposed to be. It was over 20 years ago, but I think at that time it was supposed to be one of their last tours, which of course, changed. But it was at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, and it was amazing. It was the best concert I've ever seen.
And what do they look like, though? We all have the picture of the Rolling Stones from like the 80s in our minds. How do they look?
Those guys, for all the money they had, you could tell, I was in the second row, that their shoes were literally like the soles of their shoes and things were like falling apart. What? Like they weren't out there all glammed up and, dressed in expensive clothing. I mean, you would think that they could actually afford a new pair of shoes, but it was just like old time rock and roll, and nobody cared that they didn't have glitzy props or clothes on. It was just neat to be a part of it.
I feel like, and thank you for the story. I think they're completely done. If they're on the road, this will be the last one. But I feel like they should have those big white-soled shoes with the Velcro that the old guys wear now.
Yep,
you know what I mean? That should be those orthopedic shoes. That should be what they're wearing right now.
Radio Paparazzi.
So comedian Kathy Griffin is not a fan of Johnny Depp. What? You don't say.
I love these Johnny Depp fans that are talking about this trial, and yet they refuse to show a picture of what he looks like now, which is a big orange, fat, bloated booze bag. He looks like Donald Trump with a ponytail. They keep sticking up for him and being like, Amber is taking down Johnny. He has a fake accent like when Madonna turned British. How could people not see through such an obvious affectation? This is a middle-aged man. This is pathetic.
So there's a difference between comedy and attacking, and I don't think she was trying to be funny there. I think she was just giving her opinion, but I don't know if she was pushing a new project or what.
Who still cares what Kathy Griffin thinks about this?
Someone who has that podcast, I guess. Brittany Kira is her name. She and a friend were like, hey, let's go for happy hour and get some sushi. And they live in Detroit. And coming up right behind them, ready for a shot, is Drake.
You need tequila? Okay. I'm with you. Can I have a shot of Jack, please? And what kind of tequila? Casamigos?
42, please.
Oh, okay.
I got it,
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
Oh, appreciate you. Appreciate you. Welcome to the D.
I love that. All right, Post Malone. If you were to go see him in concert, just imagine this is what you would hear backstage when he warms up.
Me. Mama made me mash my M&Ms. Mama made me mash my M&Ms.
You go New York watermelon. That's what JJ and I do for every show. New York watermelon.
If I ever catch myself doing that,
Feels good with your face. Do it
I've
with your
been
face.
speaking this language my entire life. If I can't wake up and do it, it's got to be over.
It does feel like a good face stretch, though. Do it with me. New York watermelon. New York watermelon. Yes, it does. You want to do it so badly. All right, blowing out their candles today. Paul Giamatti,
New York
great actor.
watermelon.
55. Carol Baskins is 61, and Bjorn Borg is 66 today.
All right, I got to drop this on you real quick because I have to know, and thank you guys for all the text messages already this morning. It's so cool to hear from you. Is this the single most Minnesotan phrase you have ever heard? So let me set the scenario real quick. It's Friday night. My wife's cousin Mandy and her husband Brad and their kids come up because one of their kids is playing in a baseball tournament in Sartell. They got an early morning game on Saturday. So they come over. We have a couple of cocktails by the fire. The kids are playing around and stuff like that. And at one point, Mandy, my wife Trisha's cousin, who's a school teacher, I think she teaches kindergarten or first grade. She said this, quote, "Well, we just got a Quick Trip, so now I don't have to buy wheat bread at Fleet Farm anymore."
Okay.
Is that the single most I stopped, I stood up, and I said, "Say that again?" And she goes, "Oh, yeah, we just got a Quick Trip, so I don't have to buy wheat bread at Fleet Farm anymore."
You have to do it in the accent. Oh, yeah, we got a Quick Trip in town there, and now no more wheat bread from Fleet Farm.
That is the single most Minnesotan thing I have ever heard in my entire life.
Who buys groceries at Fleet Farm? It's so expensive.
Is it worse?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What a
but
weird
I
thing
think when you're out of wheat bread and you got a couple of growing kids and you got to run down the street, if Fleet Farm's the closest place, she's been buying her wheat bread at Fleet Farm, but now they have a Quick Trip, so she's in a better spot. But I just thought that is the single most Minnesotan thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Is that a coffee table book yet? We should have one. We should compile through Facebook.
I'm sure somebody
and then
has.
every day, just a blank white page, and then just like the typewriter font. I have to buy my wheat bread at Quick Trip.
We just got a Quick Trip, so I don't have to buy my wheat bread at Fleet Farm anymore.
Yeah, that's. Wade Park's Family Fun Fest is back. They had a 2-year hiatus due to COVID. So it starts today with the medallion hunt and so much more leading up to the parade. So make sure that you swing through and take part in the festivities. More details on our website. Just type in keyword news and head to the local tab.
Have you ever once looked for a medallion, a handkerchief, a star, anything? Have you ever once
The
done
medallion
any of
hunt
these?
in Anoka for Halloween week is pretty massive. They have big prizes, so people go crazy. And one year, I was one of the 3 people that knew where it was. That's how trusting, and that's how much of a vault this is up here, that people trust me. I might have told a couple of people.
They had a coin for barbecue days where I come from, and if you can find the coin, which usually is taped underneath the merry-go-round at the city park.
Oh, good to know. All right.
Then you win something.
Get creative every year. Health officials are trying to figure out what drives the long-haul version of COVID. Scientists have yet to develop a solution.
We don't understand what's driving it biologically.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Who's dealing
Thanks
with...
for telling me they don't understand it. That helps me a lot.
I want to know who's still dealing with COVID. Maybe you had it 2 years ago and you still go up a flight of stairs and it's tough. You still have coughing. You can't taste anymore.
I have a friend that got it September. It was a little bit last September. Still no smell, still no taste.
Really?
Yeah.
Man.
So we're working on, close to, half a year at least.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Can you imagine
not tasting bacon or
smell anything?
Smelling anything?
The kid farts in the car, you don't even know it.
Well, that's a good thing. Liam's farts are enough to lay down Andre the Giant. That would have been good. All right, Abbott Nutrition, one of the largest makers of baby formula. They have now been approved by the FDA to start making baby formula again. So it looks like the formula expected to be in stores June 20th. And they're working on getting Similac back on store shelves as well. Parents, we have some relief coming
Hang
your
in
way.
there a little bit longer, guys.
Yeah. All right. So the Queen, she actually had some fun during her Jubilee. She's been on the throne, you guys, for 70 years. She's 96 years old.
It's like being on a Sunday morning.
I don't care. I don't care how much you don't have interest in the royal family. That's a pretty big feat for anybody. And she finally lets us know. Everyone's always wanted to know what's in her purse. Here she goes.
This is with Paddington the Bear, right?
I love it.
Perhaps you would like a marmalade sandwich. I always keep one for emergencies.
So do I.
It's in her purse.
I keep mine in here. For later.
Happy Jubilee, ma'am. And thank you. Well, everything.
That's very kind.
It's like he's saying goodbye. Is she dying?
No, but I mean, she might. I mean, she's nearing being alive for a century. That's wild. I get goosebumps because the way everybody came together just to like be crazy in the streets and celebrate one person's life and reign, I thought it was kind of cool.
I just haven't seen Paddington Bear in a long, long time. He's been laying low. It was COVID, man.
And now I want a marmalade sandwich.
Imagine you're on a vacation. You're at the happiest place on earth with your loved one. And he gets down on a knee as you notice your friends and family are all grabbing their phones. And you're on the edge of excitement. Behind you, the backdrop of the magical kingdom. And he gets on a knee. Oh my gosh.
It's happening. Finally.
And he's proposing to you. He's about ready to say, will you please take me as your... What? Then what? Some guy pushes us off the thing.
Yes, that's great, but over here it's going to be even better.
This just happened at Disney Paris. So, again, to set the tone, guy gets on a knee. In the backdrop, the big kingdom.
Yeah.
His beautiful, soon-to-be fiance. Oh, my God. And she's about ready to say yes.
They have their Mickey ears on. You know, one's a Minnie, one's a Mickey. And out of nowhere,
this dude jumps in and goes, no. Takes the ring from the guy.
Yeah. Who's massive, by the way.
And makes them walk down the stairs because he says, no, it'll be a better look over here. This will be a better photo opportunity.
So maybe this guy he had his heart in the right place, but like he was so dramatic. And both of us look at each other and we know one person in our life that would do something like this and take the focus completely off the happy couple.
So I thought, all right, this is clearly, I mean, they have to fire this guy, right?
I don't know if you fire somebody for that, but you definitely put them on probation. Like, please don't ruin moments like this at the happiest place on earth.
He ruined this engagement. This will never be good again.
They have a platform specifically for proposals to get the best photo, and he moved them from the platform to the bottom of the stairs. You can watch the video on our Facebook page. It gives you a feeling like weirdo.
You get hot.
Yes, like who would ever do this?
So here's what I thought we'd open up phones for this morning. I know it's early, but do you have a proposal gone wrong situation? You dropped the ring in the lake.
Oh, man. We had somebody call that said that they had hired some lake divers. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Grandpa farted right when you were about to say, I will. Something happened when you got proposed to or when you proposed that was noteworthy. If you've been proposed to, more than not, it's always a pleasant situation. You're hoping for it. Maybe you're expecting it. It probably went right. Maybe they had it planned out to a point where it was a special moment. Imagine maybe you're at Disney Paris and you decide this is the perfect time. I love her so much. I would love to spend the rest of my life with her. Let me pull this ring out while she's got her back to me. Get down on one knee. Whisper something to her, and as she turns around, she didn't even notice that in the backdrop was the Magic Kingdom.
Beautiful.
And all of our friends and family are there taking video and pictures. And right as I say, will you spend the rest of your life with me? People start applauding and yay!
So awesome.
Then wait. What is this guy is coming towards me? He grabbed the ring.
Yes, that's great, but over here it's going to be even better.
And he stops.
Like, who's so socially inept that they think that it's a good idea? This guy. Like, it was so embarrassingly dramatic to sprint to the ring, grab the ring, which takes some cojones.
Before he could pull it out of the box and give it to her, put it on her finger.
Grabs it, puts his hand out like, let's walk down the stairs. It's a better photo op for you guys. It's like, no, they are on a platform specifically made to take photos and propose. The guy is Yeah, he's probably been spoken to,
He's
put on
got to lose
probation.
his job for something like this.
I don't think you need to lose your job, but what a weirdo.
I think you do. So we're looking this morning for proposals maybe gone a little wrong. I had forgotten when you had commented that we had somebody call. Maybe this was last year that it said they dropped the ring in the lake.
Yeah.
And then they had to go get divers, and the divers found it. But it was like a day later.
How crazy.
How do you go to sleep that night?
Yeah.
Knowing you've got thousands of dollars sitting at the bottom of the lake just off the dock.
Yeah.
But you can't do anything. It's only 5 feet of water.
I know.
You can't
And how many boats
that.
go in and out of there and chumming up the water there?
Oh.
Yeah.
Tyler, tell me about it. This is just recent, right?
In May, I proposed to my wife.
Very cool.
And I did the whole dozen red roses, and got down on one knee, and proposed. So everything went great. So we unwrapped the roses and went to go get a vase to put the roses in.
Yeah.
And I had candles set out. Well, the wrapping on the roses was setting down. Apparently, they slid over towards the wrapping slid over towards the candle. And as we was putting water in the vase, getting it all ready, come back into the living room, and the table's engulfed in flames.
I mean, what do you do there?
Well, obviously put the fire out, but it was like, whoa! I would have never thought that would have happened.
Yeah, you know what this would have been the equivalent of? Is when your husband got down on one knee at that gas station, if the floor would have been just a little more sticky, he would have never been able to get up.
That's very true. And you're very dramatic about your take on my proposal.
Well, hold on.
It's not
Were
yet.
you proposed to at a convenience store?
I was, but was it well planned out? Yes, it was.
Did he
camera?
stick?
No, he didn't stick at all. They had just cleaned. They had just opened. Okay? He had my face in the newspaper. That takes planning. He had dropped off a camera the day earlier.
And if I would have
day
had
prior.
that image that guy had, they were recording at Disneyland, if that would have been the image of you, right behind you would have been some Scratchers and Slim Jims.
Slurpee machine, yeah, maybe. You know what? It's so funny. Somebody, like, your wife proposed to you in bed. Proposed to you.
Mm-hmm.
Did she say, let's just do this? Let's just do this. So somebody that has a lack of romantic experience in that department, come on, man.
When you're so overcome with horny emotions when you see a guy like myself,
you can't
what do you
help
do?
it.
You just say, I got to spend the rest of my life with you.
Let's begin now.
All right, let's get after it, folks. It is 6:01, and here comes the fun, the Playhouse all over your radio. What to do, Kat? How you living?
Man, I am like sore. My feet, I'm now to the point where if I don't wear shoes that have like memory foam, I couldn't roll over in bed last night. For real. I was like at the concession stand all weekend, and then Liam at a baseball tournament in Big Lake. And so I was like back and forth and hauling stuff. And you don't realize until you lay down or sit down for a little bit, like how old you are. I went out to a mini concert on Saturday with some friends that were in town, so that was fun. Went out to dinner at Green Mill, delicious food. Had some drinks at the Loon, Pickled Loon, and then came home. It was a fun weekend.
It was a good weekend.
Kind of hit every angle, I guess. Yeah.
We started football yesterday.
Weird.
Which
We have
is
football today, but
very, very odd. We had the 7-on-7 passing tournament yesterday at St. Scholastica in Duluth. So
yeah,
all these stinky kids and back and forth, and it was good. I mean, they performed well, but it was just, I'm such a baseball guy, and I'm going to help coach football this year, and so I was like, this is weird for me to get my head around this.
Yeah.
But implement a new offense and defense and kind of get these kids dialed in. It was fun to watch. And my daughter graduated high school on Saturday.
Crazy.
And hey, props to the entire team at Tech High School. With nearly 400 kids graduating, we were in and out of there. Ceremony time, 90 minutes.
Wow.
4 or 5 speakers. Every kid read off. Bangarang Rufio, 90 minutes. It was a pleasant surprise.
Did they ask you to ever read the names off? Or
No, they have a,
you do radio.
They have school board members do that.
Oh, okay.
That is not for the general public idiot radio disc jockey.
Got it.
But it was fun to watch and just to see her be able to move on to the next element. It's so cool to see how focused she is. It was like she was happy that the day was there, but it just kind of drifted right past. She was just like, all right, on to the next thing. So we did that. Hey, can I ask you, Can you get adult eye allergies at my old ass age?
Oh, sure you can. I was just talking to Cindy about that on Friday. I said, I'm lucky enough to be the only person in my household that doesn't have allergies, but kind of every year I get maybe a little bit more clogged up or itchy.
So we're at this football camp yesterday, right? And most of the time we're on turf, but for maybe an hour or 90 minutes we're on grass.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like not freshly mowed grass, even to the point where it had some of those little purple buds coming up, you know what I mean? And like a lot of clover. And we leave the camp yesterday. I'm completely fine. And about 10 miles into our ride home, my eye starts burning and itching, and I could not get it to water enough.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it was painful to the point where I stopped at a grocery store, bought some eye drops, and they kept the pain at bay till I got home. And then I woke up this morning, it was better.
Yeah.
But I still feel like I have dry eyes. I mean, is that a thing? Is that probably an allergy?
Your eyes look very, very tired and old.
Yeah, they usually do. That's because of morning radio for this long. But I was like, man, did I get an eye allergy? So I popped a Zyrtec last night before I went to bed, and I woke up feeling better this morning. But I'm like, man, how do you get an outdoor eye allergy at my old age?
Yeah, Derek gets worse every single year.
I got a foot in the coffin and I'm getting an eye allergy. This is really weird, man. So I didn't know if that was a thing, but that's how my weekend ended.
Radio Paparazzi.
All right, so Mariah Carey being sued for copyright infringement. She will not have to really answer to anybody because her label will handle it. But way back in the day, in '89, there was a song written by Andy Stone who, once you hear it, you're like, oh yeah, I hear it every Christmas. All I want for Christmas is you.
All I want for Christmas is you.
Vince Vance and the Valiants. I remember playing this on country radio.
All right, so we got that one.
And here's Mariah now. I think they got something there.
Isn't there enough room in the world of Christmas songs?
Oh, listen, there's not enough room when you're Vince Vance and the Valiants.
Yeah.
There's not enough room in the checkbook to write out all the checks. And if you can get some of that Mariah money, go get it.
She's already gotten a ton for it being around for 2 decades. I mean, it's a very old song.
It's
both
her
of them
biggest
are.
hit.
I know. So we'll see if anybody gets anything, but the plaintiff is seeking $20 million. All right, Rappy Boozy Badass. I know you were just wondering what he's been up to, but he has had to worry about a paternity test regarding his 18-year-old son.
Just found out that ain't my son, baby. I'm not a grandpa. Oh, you're going down, baby. Oh, Lord. I need everybody to come to the club tonight. Oh, Lord. This is a conspiracy of the ages.
So, you know what? I think DNA tests are amazing. I think as a woman, if a guy doubts you, whatever, throw it in his face. Do not get all upset about a DNA test. It's like, you know who you slept with. You know whose baby it is. So take the papers and just throw them in their face.
My favorite is Boozy here.
Yeah.
Is inviting everyone to the club to celebrate not being a grandfather.
I know.
Don't most grandparents, they're like, oh my God, I wanted to be a grandpa so bad.
Well, there's a picture of him holding this baby, and he's like, I knew from the get-go, that this is not from our DNA line.
Do you believe in the fact that you can hold a baby and know it's not your blood?
Maybe.
That's a crazy ESP kind of thing.
So, yeah, she is now seeking who the father is. The Rock, he is just showing another part of his selfless side. He bought his mom a house over the weekend.
All right, Mom, this is your big room. Welcome home.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Look at this.
These pictures were...
Wait a minute. Oh, my God.
He has pictures up on the walls of their ancestors, a vintage ukulele collection because she plays the ukulele, and then a SmackDown room. So she never forgets where this money came from. He laid the SmackDown for you.
What do you think? Did she call him Dwayne, do you think?
Oh, probably. Or Dwayne the bathtub. I'm drowning. I don't know. I don't know what she calls him, but I just thought it was so sweet. He always takes such good care of her. Blowing out their candles today, we have Uncle Cracker, 48. Paul Giamatti is 55. And Carol Baskins is 61. I went out this weekend and stopped by a friend's place in town here and had a couple of drinks and texted him. He wasn't around, but he started texting, how are things going? I said, they look great, taste great, thanks. And he goes, question for you, because you have a radio show. Can you put it out there and poll the people? Because he and his partners are thinking of going full QR code. And they serve delicious lunches. Full QR code, no more laminated menus. And personally, I told him I like laminated menus. I don't want to sit there and scroll. And then if I have to go 2 pages over, then I got to go back like that, where I could just flip.
You sound so old.
I do sound old, but I sound like it's pure convenience for me. It's not really. And then I got to worry about wasting battery or like looking down at my phone. I really don't need to use my phone to look at a menu.
Here's what I've done at almost every place since the pandemic started that has a menu that had a QR code. I bookmark it on the browser that I use on my phone. And now I know if my wife says, hey, we're going here, I can look at the menu even before we get there.
Really?
Yeah.
You menu peep?
I do.
Okay.
I prefer it this way. So our thought is, I mean, would you just rather everybody go with QR code or not? Nicole, QR code, menu, what are you going with?
A paper menu.
Yeah,
really?
I am
Who
that
are you
way
people?
too.
Why wouldn't you just want to whip out your phone and have everything right there?
It's just another excuse to be on your phone.
Yes. Phones aren't at the table.
Yeah,
You know what I don't like? I think I'm becoming a germaphobe because I don't like touching menus that other people have touched. I would much rather just scan it on my phone.
I don't mind it.
Oh, yeah. No, you have to have phones away. People have eyes for a reason. You need to look at them.
That sounds like one of my sayings.
Jeez, that creeped me
You
out
live in a house, live in a barn, live in a barn on your own, not outside.
By helping us right now, you might change the face of society. As Kat has a friend who's a local bar and restaurant owner, and he said, hey, why don't you ask your audience, what do you prefer? Because they're thinking about going to the just the QR code and no longer doing menus.
Yeah.
That has to be, I mean, I don't even know what the cost of menus per year is, but if you can chop that out, maybe you hire somebody else, maybe you give somebody else a couple more bucks, maybe you make a couple more dollars as a restaurant owner.
So if you were thinking about things like the pros and cons list, pro list is that a QR code is free. You can just create it and then update your menu anytime you want.
Update it on your laptop in 10 seconds versus having to print off and laminate a whole bunch of menus.
Yeah, and if you think about the menus, then they're convenient and people prefer that. I don't know how many. What do you think the percentage
Most of our
people?
texters right now are saying they want the paper menu.
Yeah, I would want the paper menu. I don't know. And a lot of people are like, I don't know. It's not scanning. You know, like we do QR codes for a lot of contests.
God.
And I would say half of the people that come up are like, it's not showing up. What do I do? Do I press this link? And then I go
These are the
here?
same people that couldn't get their Roku to work, though.
But that's okay.
You know what I
These
mean?
people are still hungry. And when you're hungry, sometimes you're hangry. And do you want to deal with a QR code that isn't working?
Well, then have a mask. You know, you should have the QR code on a little tabletop thing. And then it says, if you don't have a smartphone, ask for a menu. And then they got a couple in the, under the bar.
Yeah.
That's how I would handle it. Tracy, thoughts on the menu thing?
I'd rather have one in front of me versus my phone because I personally have a daughter who, if she sees me with my phone out, she wants it. So.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
know.
You got young kids and they see you got your phone, they want it now.
Yep, exactly. I mean,
Good
which
point.
can work in your favor, or it could be, an issue.
Yeah, good point. I hadn't thought of that. I'm glad you called. Have a great morning, Tracy.
Thank you. You too.
I saw this and I thought, all right, let's go to the mattress with this. Everybody's still so buzzing about Top Gun Maverick. Now, maybe 40 years from right now, your kids are going to go, you know what? That movie maybe didn't get critical acclaim, but it's my ride or die movie. It's the movie I will defend till the end of days. That I love it. I asked Kat before the show. I know you have several, but one of those that she said is an I will defend it until the end of days movie was Son-in-Law with Pauly Shore.
Okay.
And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Because isn't he, what's his name, Crawl in that movie?
Sure.
Right? He's like, does that thing.
If I had to say another one, it would be The Hot Chick with Rachel McAdams and
Rob Schneider.
Where he's like, it's me, Jessica. It's also a TikTok trend. It's a funny and like creative, but just horrible movie.
I'm going with Airheads. With
Who's in
Steve
that?
Buscemi, Adam Sandler. Who's the guy that does all the what's his name? Brendan Fraser.
Yep. When he was skinny.
Yeah, and watch it. And there's all sorts of. I mean, you know who else is in it? Kramer from Seinfeld.
Really?
Yeah, he's in it. Chris Farley has a spot in that movie.
Well, you can buy it now on Amazon for $29.93. That is a lot of money to own.
You should be able to buy a dozen for $29.93.
All right, so there's a company, a business in Nebraska, and they're like, we are going to set a trend that might alleviate some stress in the workplace. And so they've now created a crying room. We've heard of napping rooms before. We've heard of like Zen rooms where if you're just feeling a little overwhelmed at work, you can go in there. We've heard of breastfeeding rooms, which were installed here at work when all 48 of us were pregnant.
It was amazing how you all got knocked up at the same time.
Isn't that crazy?
It was really weird.
We were a news story, by the way. The news came and the B-roll makes me cry because it's so horrible. But it was kind of a fun thing that our company did because the CEO of our company has so many daughters. He realizes, we need to make sure that women feel comfortable. So he put in a breastfeeding room.
What is it now that nobody's pregnant? What is that?
It's a little like there's a lounger in there, and then there is a sink with a faucet so you can wash your hands, wash your pump out. So it's kind of a room.
Oh, so it's still a breastfeeding room, but can anybody use it? Like, could I take a nap in there?
Go back there. Go enjoy it. The lounger is nice.
Going back there, it's spooky.
There's breast milk all over. It's like dripping from the walls like a horror film. No, I'm just kidding. But I was like, a crying room. Initially, I thought, what a way to really put a damper on the workplace. If I heard from another room somebody bawling their eyes out.
What if your office is right next to it?
I would not be able to concentrate. I would be like, this is really sad. This brings me down. How am I supposed to keep my morale up when someone's having a full-on breakdown?
Here's my question. How bad is your work environment where you got to dedicate one of your rooms to letting people cry?
Yeah.
Can't you fix the culture?
What happened to going out to your car and getting some fast food and just sobbing while you eat some fries,
Or leaving work early and going to the bar.
No, do not drown your sorrows with alcohol. That is not what we're saying.
Just fun people to talk to there is what I meant.
So what's your first initial thought on a crying room being installed at work? Do you think that it is a great way to let out whatever you're feeling inside so you don't hold on to it and you're better at work? Or do you think it's going to probably create a different environment?
Hey, very cool that you could join us this morning. It's Kat and JJ up in the Playhouse. How is Paula?
I am wonderful. Thank you.
How
are you?
Welcome. Great. Thanks for asking. We're talking about these crying rooms that are now starting to be installed into workplaces. This company in Nebraska is going pretty viral because they said, hey, we're going to dedicate this room to you being able to cry at work if that's going to make you feel better. What's your initial thought on this?
Well, I agree. I think with Kat that it would bring people down.
Yeah.
But I think maybe if it would be more like a whiner's room and get the whiners out of the office so you can get more work done.
Yeah, but what would you do in there?
Idea?
Would it be like a confessional box where you have somebody that listens to you whine, or are you just whining to yourself like you could in the car?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I didn't think that far.
Because who wants to have the job of sitting in the whiner room and listening to all these twerps come in and they're like, I don't want to do my job that I was hired for.
I'd rather lick a 9-volt battery all day.
I don't know if I would fare well with a room like this. I'd walk by and probably could tell you right now a couple of people that would be in there daily because they can't handle it.
And the best part about our job is we've got a whiner's room for hours every morning.
This is our whiner room,
little whiner room, and you guys get to hear all our whining. That's the best part.
You know what? I have not pieced it together until you just said that this is probably the best job over any form of therapy.
Oh, this is why you haven't snapped yet.
This
it's
is
because we get to do therapy every day here. We get to purge all our thoughts of the people that disgust us and stuff.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with someone the other day where I'm like, if I were to go to therapy, I don't even know what I would talk about because I feel like I get everything out.
Yeah.
Here. So this is our whiner room. What would you whine about today?
Oh God, don't get me started.
No, our caller.
Early.
What would you whine about today if you could go into this
Paula,
room?
what's going to drive you crazy today? You can already see it happening.
I guess not too much. Just that I had to get up so early.
Okay, that's okay.
How late would have you slept if you could have? 10:30?
Oh, noon maybe.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I was literally
don't you feel like you're wasting half the day.
Love sleeping.
No, I had a crazy weekend. I'm with you. I was about to call and just say I had COVID because I was like,
that's so wrong.
I know.
People are dying.
Well, all right, a severe cold then. God. But I was like so close to calling or texting JJ and being like, I can't come in today.
Would you feel like the culture at your workplace is truly brutal if they have to dedicate a room to crying?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I'm not big on that. Hey, thanks for being on the show, Paula. I really appreciate you. Now, I want to get to Hillary's thoughts here because she had said before, and what I read when we took her call is that she's all in favor of this situation, right? The crying rooms, you're down?
I 100% think it's great. Especially if you have a high-pressure job. Like, I have a high-pressure job, and I just, you can't be crying at your desk or, in front of people. So I think it's perfect just to, go into a room, let it out for a second or two, and then, just come back out.
Don't you feel like it's encouraging these people to cry? I feel like if I know I have a place to go cry, I'm just going to start crying. Where if I didn't have a place to go, I'd be like, all right, suck it up. Let's get going. Let's try to make another sale. I don't know if this is a good idea.
Yeah, but why not let it out? It's like, how good do you feel after you go through something and you cry and somebody's like, it's okay, just let it out. And you let it out and then you feel so much better. So it's like, why not implement that at work so that you can make a better sale? You come back and you're just even that more ready to talk to somebody and make a sale. And,
let's say your company puts these in. How often a week do you think you're going to be using them?
Pretty often.
Do you cry all the time at work?
Are you talking every day?
I mean, it might, you could have a good week. Sometimes you have a bad week. So I can't. Wow. I am a crybaby, and that does help me feel better.
I wanted to quickly fit this in because she sent this on Friday, Melissa, and she said, can you please just read this email on the air? I just need to kind of gauge if I'm making the right decision. And every parent has to deal with this at one point or another. My 12-year-old son begging me to allow him to stay home this summer. He's gotten himself into trouble before, so I'm very aware or wary of allowing him to be on his own. He keeps saying that I can trust him. Red flag, she says. My ex-husband says that he has no problem allowing my son to stay home alone when he's with him. He says this because he wants to be his friend and make me look like the bad guy.
Sure.
Should I wait until he makes mistakes before making other arrangements? Should I trust that he has grown in the last year and a half from making the mistakes? By then, it would be too late, though, if I let him make that mistake. So I remember what I did when I was a teen, and I just think back and don't want to deal with anything. So that's what she wrote in.
This is about the time you started stealing cars, right? About this age?
13.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
putting them on bricks.
I would.
Just kidding.
I wasn't home alone, but my mom went back to work when I was, about this age and a little bit younger even. And I remember taking care of my little sister, but it was pretty much like this. Our summer was wake up, find a little food if you had some, and then you went out and played.
Yeah.
You found a friend on the block or you went to a baseball field. And so, I was without adult supervision from probably 11 on.
11 on?
Yeah.
I was way earlier than
Maybe
that.
10.
My mom was a teacher. She had to get up early. My dad worked. I remember it started in Guam. So we'd get ourselves off to school. And my sister was 5 and I was 8.
But during the summer?
During the summer, yeah. No, during the summer, she taught summer school. So, we were always...
You were always alone?
Alone. I'd lock my sister out of the house.
How about your son? He's about this age. Would you let him be alone all day? If you came to work... let's say you had a regular job, right? You had a 7 to 5 kind of job. Would you let him be home all day by himself?
Yeah, but I'd feel really bad about it. That's a long time to leave somebody that
He's got kids on the block. You got food in the fridge, freezies in the freezer. Leave him home for 8 hours, 5 times a week?
I wouldn't at 9. He's almost 10. He still stays alone every now and then. I would say a couple times a week he's alone for a few hours. But he's so responsible. I think you got to know your child.
I think it's different now, too, because kids have phones. I think you can track them. You can know where they are. They can text you if they're leaving. They can text you when they get there.
One conversation I have with him all the time, he doesn't have a phone, but he has a watch to get a hold of us. But one conversation I say, if you put those Fortnite headphones on, you say not one word about being alone. You never know if there's a creepo listening, so.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's kind of our protocol, but he's never given me anything to worry about. But let's talk about Melissa's 12-year-old son begging her to stay alone. What's your first feeling?
It's Kat and JJ up in the KCLD Playhouse. Hello, Samantha. How are you?
Good.
Thank you for coming on to the show. We were talking about the email we got from one of our listeners about her 12-year-old son. Made a couple of mistakes. They're kids, right? In the last year and a half, but now he's begging to stay home by himself this summer. The ex-husband says, no problem. She's a little bit weary. How would you handle this?
I wouldn't do it. So I feel like
you got to listen to that mom gut, and if your gut is saying that they're not ready, then you're probably right. And I have a 12-year-old, and he's made some mistakes too, and he's just not. I mean, he's sneaky and he's not super mature, and he's going to daycare this summer, or like an after-school out-of-school program.
Oh, is he mad about this?
He thinks, oh yeah, he doesn't like it either. We have an 8-year-old, and the 8-year-old's going to the same place, and he doesn't think he should have to be like his younger brother. But,
yeah.
I think you just have to protect them, and if you think they're not ready, then it's your job to be their parent and protect them and keep them safe. Kids get in trouble nowadays.
I know you want to give them the benefit of the doubt and like help them grow, like let them get to the point where they could stay alone and feel like they're trusted. But I get the other half of this where it's like, I don't want to deal with the mistakes. If they want to make their own mac and cheese and leave the gas going.
Here's what nobody's talking about. This is a 12-year-old boy. If this was a 12-year-old girl, I wouldn't hesitate twice. Girls are they mature so much faster, and they're so much smarter than boys at this age.
I would agree. I don't have girls. I have 3 boys, but we have friends that have girls, and we're not there. We're not at where those kids are at.
Real quick.
You know your kid, like that's what.
Off subject, Kat and I were talking about this a couple minutes ago. So, like, you're a boy mom, right? And Kat's a boy mom.
Oh.
But I have like a boy, 2 boys, and a girl. What do I get? What's my
you're
label?
Just a dad.
That sucks. That sucks so bad.
Why?
Why can't I be a boy-girl dad?
Because you don't have all the same genders. If you were
horse crap.
And only Trisha can wear those shirts because, like, if you had all boys, she could be a girl or a boy.
Oh, you
mom.
can't be a girl dad?
Yes, I'm saying, but they have to be all genders, and she can't be a girl mom.
Why am I discluded?
Because you have all different genders.
Doesn't matter. There's got to be something that
How
covers
is
it
this
all.
not clicking?
I want to be boy-girl dad.
And what would you even do with that? Would you have a bumper sticker or a T-shirt? No, you would just be. So.
You guys are draining my good vibes today. Thanks, Samantha. Have a great day.
Thank you for calling.
Yeah, no problem.
See ya. She's a boy mom.
Yeah, I'm a boy mom.
I'm a boy-girl dad.
Okay,
I'm taking it now.
Normal.
Randy, thoughts on this whole stay alone home thing?
Well, I'm the kind of person where action is the one that speaks. So if he hasn't done great in the past, I would say he's got to earn the ability to stay home. So maybe start with a couple hours while running to the grocery store.
Yep.
And if he doesn't screw that up, then start to increase the time. But I mean, 12 is that in-between age. It really depends on how mature he wants to behave.
That's true. Every child is so different. So you really can't say this is the age that they should be alone, because if your 15-year-old is a little pyro and your 9-year-old is very responsible, you kind of just have to go off that.
Yeah, again, that's where I was probably left at home alone, and my husband was probably not left alone until he was 18.
I heard you had a couple of cocktails. You went out a little bit on Saturday night, got loose.
I got ham bones.
Did you get crunk?
I was very
Turnt?
hungover yesterday. Very hungover. But like for a good reason. I had a friend that I haven't seen him, and he brought a friend. I haven't seen him in like 5 months.
A lot of friends and air quotes going on around here today.
And it was a good time. Went and saw some live music. It was like perfect weather for it.
Yeah.
And had some green tea shots, which are not green tea at all. You know me, I don't mix brown liquor with my body, but couldn't even tell. Pretty good.
Did you leave anything in the Uber?
I did not. No.
I saw this list of the most common things people find in Ubers, and I wasn't very surprised by it. Cell phones, wallets, keys, backpacks and purses, headphones and speakers, glasses, clothes, vapes, jewelry, IDs, and passports. Those are the most common.
Sure.
But what really got me is when I started reading some of the weird things that have been left behind and reported by Uber drivers over the last year.
Yeah.
A pizza costume?
Okay. Maybe a costume party. How about eyelashes? Are eyelashes on the list?
No.
Okay.
500 grams of caviar is on the list.
Ooh, okay.
Quote unquote, some tater tots
Yeah.
were reported by an Uber driver lately. How about a pair of unicorn Band-Aids? Somebody left behind an Employee of the Month plaque.
Okay.
Crocheted strawberries have been left behind.
Now, what happens? Is there like an Uber headquarters where you can go for lost and found, or do you have to pay for them to bring that stuff back? Because they're not going to waste their gas money, especially now.
Got to meet up with them at 9th and University.
Wherever they're
the next
parked.
time they're coming through.
Yeah.
And maybe they circle back with you. How about a miniature windmill?
Okay. Been looking for that.
Here's what happens. I was so happy to get home, I forgot to look behind me and grab my miniature windmill out of the back seat of the Uber. Also left behind a spray tan machine.
Okay.
A breast pump.
I could see that.
How?
If you're out and about and you need some relief and you have a mini breast pump with you and you just want a girls' night out.
If you remember the baby, you got to, if you remember to pump and dump, you're remembering the pump, aren't you? Those are expensive.
They are expensive.
A couple more that got me. A small rhinoceros sculpture was left behind. Somebody left behind in the trunk of an Uber a full-size power washer.
Okay. Do you even say anything at that point? Because that's a high-ticket item.
Right, especially if it's a Ryobi. And then my favorite. And I want you to let this one sink in for a second. But a prosthetic leg.
Oh, man. How far'd they get? Can't imagine far.
I was like, dude, hop to it. Yep. And next thing you know.
Oh, good one.
Thank you.
I want to know who was responsible for. You have 3 kids. I only have 1. It was kind of a joint effort with Liam. But who was in charge of naming all 3 of your kids?
Well, the first one, we didn't know boy or girl.
Okay.
And it came down to, I think it was going to be Isabella.
Okay.
When she would have just been Bella or Peyton. And so we ended up with Peyton. And I didn't realize that Peyton was such a unisex name until our son Peyton got into kindergarten with 2 other girls who were named Peyton.
Mm-hmm.
And then with Reagan, that was pretty much Trisha. She wanted the Reagan. I got the middle name, though, Mercedes.
Yeah.
And then with the last one, I let her believe that I had planted this a long time ago. My favorite baseball player of all time is Nolan Ryan. And I kept kind of planting it. Mm-hmm. When we got pregnant, I just, we didn't even start talking about baby names, but I mentioned to my wife a whole bunch of times that, Nolan Ryan, I wish I'd have been a little bit older. I could have watched him play more games. And I'm so happy that my favorite ball player, Nolan Ryan, got into the Hall of Fame. And I would drop, Nolan Ryan had 11 no-hitters.
What a great name.
He's the all-time strikeout leader, Nolan Ryan. And my wife, at one day, we were furniture shopping. She's like, I really like the name Nolan. Do you like that? I'm like, you know what? Let me chew on it for a little while. And on the inside, I'm screaming, oh, my God, yes, oh, my God, yes, oh, my God, yes.
You won.
I think I kind of planted the seed, and so I won that one. So
okay.
I feel like it was a moral victory, at least.
So I've been open where I've talked about Liam's middle name, how we have no idea where it came from. I have no idea. Not a
type of cigarette you used to smoke, isn't it?
It's not. I was a Turkish Gold, baby. But I've never smoked Merit cigarettes. I didn't even know how to spell it. I still don't know if I spell it correctly when I put his name down on insurance forms and stuff. I'm like, hey, buddy, how do you spell your middle name? What?
Is there 2 T's or 1?
Merrit.
TT.
No.
There should be TT.
No TTs. No double T's at the end. Oh my God, am I right? I have to text
You don't know how to spell your kid's middle name?
Liammerrit. Yeah, that's got to be it.
And
we'll go with that.
Is it Liam? It's not William.
Yes, he is a William.
Okay, so it's William Cigarette. Gotcha.
Yes, and so that was a joint effort. But I have a friend who is pregnant with her 3rd. So it's kind of like when you get to your 3rd, you're like, whatever sticks to the wall, like spaghetti, we'll just go with that. But her husband is like, you name the first 2. I really want to name the last one. She goes, okay, well, as long as it has a ring to it. He wants to name the girl, Julie. They're having a girl. Wants to name it Julie after his grandmother, who was never nice to my friend Alyssa. Never. Passed away 4 years ago. And he's like, I love my grandmother. I think my mom would really appreciate that if we named her Julie. And she's like, can we do the middle name Julie? And he goes, no, you told me I could name her Julie. But how can you look at your baby and only think about the name of the woman that made your life hell? Yeah. And I'm like, you got to maybe stick up for yourself and just say, I don't have a lot of really great name connections or connotations with that name, it makes me feel a certain way. But
I'm all about compromise unless it comes to your baby's name.
yeah, like you can have your own who named your baby stories, but I kind of want to get some advice for her because I saw her out this weekend and I said, that is really interesting. I want to bring this to the radio.
Every time you look and want to love that child, you're going to see bad grandma.
Yeah. It's like if you name your child like
Adolf.
Arthur or Adolf. Yeah. And you're looking at this beautiful baby and you're like, oh, it just doesn't fit. So one, do you have some advice for my friend who's in a sticky spot? Because this is her baby's name for the rest of their life. And two, do you have a good who named your baby story?
Imagine you're about to have a beautiful, bouncing baby girl. And the ultrasound done, and you're about 6 weeks out from having a baby girl, and your husband looks at you and said, oh, I really, really think it's important to myself and my mom to name our daughter after my grandmother. And you, as you house this baby in your belly, you look down at your cankles and you say, that woman was never nice to me. I can't name my baby that.
I feel really bad for my friend because she is like, yes, of course you can name this third child. I got the first two, but put some thought into it. And he said, I did. I wanted to be Julie. And that's my late grandmother who passed away 4 years ago. But do you remember when she was horrible to you? And I'm like, I don't know. I would have that conversation with him, like maybe the middle name, maybe you want to go that route. But who is in charge of naming the baby in your situation?
So hit us up real quick. I'd love to get your story on the air. Tell us about it, the baby.
My daughter named my granddaughter Tylasia. I don't know where she came up with it. I was like, I do not even know how to spell that. But that's what she named her. I call her Lele.
Oh.
I do not care for Tylasia.
Tylasia. I don't know if I've ever heard that before.
Don't ever tell her that. Don't say, well, I've always hated your name.
Thanks, Beth. Hey, Roxy, real quick. I was very excited to see this call pop through because I'm a college football fan. Will you tell us about your friend here?
A friend of ours, he said he would not stop having children until he found a woman who would name his son Heisman.
Nice.
Therefore, he did finally end up naming one of his sons Heisman.
All right on.
He said he wasn't going to stop until he got one of these women, and he actually has 7 babies' mamas and finally got a Heisman.
Look at that.
So that's what he wanted, and that's what he got.
My man finally got a Heisman.
Why is that your man? Why? That's a very Nick Cannon move to just impregnate a bunch of women.
I didn't say he should have impregnated a lot of women. I think you just have this discussion first.
You just said, my man. I'm going to keep going until I get a boy.
Here's what I would have done, though, if that would have been that important to me. I would have kept going as far as the conversation of, hey, I'd like to have a baby with you.
But
Can we name him Heisman? And then you could go, no. And then you would say, all right, well, it's so important to me that I'm going to see if there's another woman that would like to have this. Versus impregnating several women and then waiting until they're pregnant and then going, hey, can we slide Heisman into the old birth certificate here?
I don't know.
That seems like it was a little bit ass backwards to do to me.
Wouldn't be on board with that. So who was the baby namer in the family?
Hit us up real quick.
The Playhouse Podcast is made possible thanks to Bradshaw and Bryan Law Offices. Catch the live show weekdays from 5:30 to 9 on 104.7 KCLD. Now, share this with a friend.